Maharal said something phenomenal when many of you people were away. Okay, not speaking to anyone who was here. Okay, so he said about that Gemara in Tainus, where Rabbi Loz spoke, he met this ugly person, and he spoke in a way that was definitely out of order, wrong. Shouldn't have spoken the way he was. But seemingly, it said he had come from a location called Migdor Geder. Migdol Geder. Migdol means tower. So the Maharal says, why is it important for the Gemara to share with us where he was coming from? Migdol means a tower. Geder means a fence. That's what it means. He says, nowhere in Shas is this location mentioned, Maharal says. So evidently to tell us that a person who studies Torah, especially at a certain level, it's almost not possible, shouldn't feel slightly haughty because of what you've accomplished. Since Torah is the ultimate, and you came upon the ultimate, you feel, in a certain way, privileged, you feel elite because of what you have. As a result of that, that's the way, he says, that's why it's Migdol Geder. Because he was coming from the high, he says, even though it's clear from the Gemara what he said was wrong. What he said, it was out of order. He hurt the man's feelings. He shouldn't have spoken the way he spoke to the man. So I said something. This is what I finished with what we learned on our Friday. David HaMelech was the leading Torah sager of his generation. David was one of the most humble people who lived. How's it possible? He had such a dimension of Torah. So at the point I pointed out, I said over something a Moshe, which the Vilna Gaon explains on Sosanochi Alim B'Stech Motzi Sholo Rov. David can never become haughty at any level, despite his dimension of Torah, because he understood how much there is so much more to learn, and he always saw what he didn't have, not what he had. If you focus on what you have, it's impossible not to become haughty, to some degree. At that very sensitive level, is haughtiness, because you're at a level which is one of a kind of a level. You feel privileged. But if you're always looking at what you don't have, because there's so much more to have, you don't have time to look at what you accomplished. You're always looking of there's so much more to accomplish. That's why David never didn't have a trace of gaiva. He says, Anochi Tolas Luish, he says, I'm a worm. I mean, he was a king, he was a conqueror, he was a victor, he was everything. And yet, and he had a son like Shlomo, yet, could you imagine? I'm a worm. Because if you understand what there is to accomplish, as much as you feel privileged that you accomplished, but versus what there's so much more to do, you have no time to focus on that. Therefore, David was able to maintain himself in that ultimate extreme state of humility. But that's David. But anybody else, it's almost like a psikration almost. Coming upon Torah at that special level, it's almost not possible not to feel that degree of I don't want to use the word gaiva, of that self-importance. To be continued. No, I was thinking of that after Friday. We say Yishlam on the road to Mosiah. You have 100, you want 200. So the more you have, the gap gets wider. Right? The more you have, the less you have. You have 100, you want 200. So what's the gap? You have 1 million, you want 2 million. So the gap is a lot wider. But the way we're saying now, and the way I'm explaining, even regarding spirituality, David focused on what he didn't have. The more you appreciate what you have, you appreciate even to a greater degree what you don't have, when there's so much more to have. So what's the difference? The question is, what do you want more? When you're dealing with the physical, it's the eye. It's the eye. Right? Why do you want that additional million? Because it's the eye. That's what. Otherwise, what do you want more material? You have enough material, you can drown in it. More. So we're talking about the ego. It's the person himself. When we speak about spirituality, it's the subservience and the submission to Hashem. It's in terms of the levels of spirituality to be negated. Because you have such an appreciation of what you have, therefore you appreciate even to a greater degree what you don't have, and there's so much more to have. It touches upon a different aspect of the person. That's humbling, of course. That's the difference between them. But it's the same concept. A person, yesh lo mona rotza mosayim. In spirituality, you have this, you want more. But the difference is whether you're humbled because of it or you're ingratiated because of it. You're inflated because of it. Okay.